Well, so far we've heard from 29 witnesses ranging from law enforcement to close friends of the Murdaugh family through 10 days of testimony here in the Murdaugh trial, leading to some emotional moments inside the courtroom. This happening as Judge Clifton Newman is deciding whether or not alleged financial crimes Murdaugh committed should be brought into this murder trial. Of course, the state says a growing financial storm that Murdaugh was facing led him to commit the murders of his wife and son. Palmetto State Bank CEO Jan Malinowski taking to the stand, testifying that Murdaugh's financial situation was dire.
And there's a reference also to the total indebtedness that Alex Murdaugh had to the bank at that point in time.
Yes, sir. As of the day of that memo that was presented to the executive committee, Mr. Murdaugh owed directly or indirectly $4.2 million.
Murdaugh's defense painting a different picture in court on Friday afternoon.
Alex Murdaugh had been a customer of Palmetto State Bank for many, many years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And had he ever been denied a request from Palmetto State Bank for a line of credit or a loan up until September of 2021?
To my knowledge, no.
A forensic accountant describing how Murdaugh moved stolen money between accounts, and Tony Satterfield, the son of Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper who died at the family property back in 2018, spoke about how Murdaugh swindled him out of millions of dollars awarded in his mother's wrongful death suit.
Ultimately, in the wake of all of this, you've come to find out that there was a settlement for $505,000, correct?
Yes.
And it was diverted by Alex Murdaugh, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, you've come to find out that there was a settlement under the umbrella policy for $3.8 million. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or thereabouts, correct?
Yes.
And a large proportion of that was diverted by Alex Murdaugh. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever get 1 cent from Alex Murdaugh when he was still, before all of this happened?
No.
The jury returned to hear testimony from a fingerprint expert who said he was unable to find any usable evidence at the scene. Several SLED agents who collected DNA from people in the family's orbit. The final witness, SLED firearms expert Paul Greer, gave lengthy testimony today. Prosecutors using his testimony to tie bullets at the crime scene to others found at the Murdaugh's family property.
Items collected around Margaret Murdaugh's body matched the items collected outside the house, which matched items that were collected in the field at the shooting range.
Yes, sir. I was able to identify that the cartridge cases recovered, items 2 through 7 near the body, did have matching mechanism marks with several of the items from the area around the home and those in the shooting field, and several of those in the shooting field, to conclude that some of those had been, that those have been loaded into, extracted, and ejected from the same firearm at some previous time.
But the defense ultimately pointing out that his findings aren't definitive enough.
And you're not here to tell this jury, in your opinion, that this 300 blackouts laying on the floor here was used to murder Maggie Murdaugh, correct?
The results of the comparisons of those cartridge cases, items 2 through 7, with test fires from that item 33 rifle were also inconclusive, meaning I was unable to determine if those cartridge cases were fired by item 33 or they've been fired by another firearm.
Court will resume at 9:30 on Monday morning. Judge Clifton Newman taking up more financial testimony as he decides whether or not the alleged financial crimes should be brought into the murder trial. Of note, we're expecting to hear from attorney Mark Tinsley, who's connected to the 2019 boat crash involving Paul Murdaugh. Jurors will then be brought back into the courtroom at 11:30 when we resume witness testimony. Reporting in Walterboro, South Carolina, Riley Benson, Count on 2.